This might be controversial, but sometimes I wonder if I would have chosen to study abroad if I really knew what it was going to be like. Not because I regret it, and definitely not because I'm not grateful, because I am. I know how lucky I am to be here, to have this experience, to have lived in 3 different countries, and to study what I love. Not everyone gets this kind of opportunity, and I remind myself of that every single day. But gratitude doesn't cancel out the fact that I feel lonely. And just because something is a privilege doesn't mean it's easy. No one tells you about this part, about how coming back after the holidays feels like ripping yourself away from everything warm and familiar. About how you can love your independence and still feel incredibly alone. About how no matter how much time passes, goodbyes never actually get easier.
I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now if you wanna have a good time. Just give me a call. Don't stop me cause I'm having a good time. Yes, I'm having a good time.
I just spent weeks at home with my family, doing nothing special, just being together, which that in itself felt like the most special moments. Waking up to the sound of my mom's voice, the laugh of my dad, and the smile of my sister, talking to my brother before going to sleep, and taking my dog on long walks. Staying up late, watching random movies we've seen 100 times before. Those tiny, insignificant moments that don't feel like much in the moment until they're gone. Now suddenly I'm back in my apartment, starting to unpack my suitcase, trying to convince myself that this life, this quiet, independent, build it all yourself life is just as good. And logically, I know it is. I know I'll adjust again. I know I'll fall back into my routines. I know that in a few weeks, I'll be fine. But right now it just feels empty, and I don't think people talk about it enough. The first week back is always the worst. It's like my body's here, but my mind is still at home, still sitting at the dinner table with my family, still laughing at my dad's jokes, still curled up on the couch watching Netflix with my sister and brother. But I wake up and I'm here, back to waking up alone, making my own breakfast, trying to fill the silence with a podcast or a YouTube video, just so it doesn't feel so quiet. Because if you know something about Spanish families, is that they're never quiet. I tell myself to just get back into routine, but even that feels strange. No one talks about the fact that when you come back, you're surviving on half an empty fridge, or how hard it actually is to unpack even though it takes no time at all, or the fact that when you sit down to study again, it feels like we're disconnected from everything. But deep down, I know it will pass. It always does. I know I'll settle back in getting busy again, getting used to my own company again. But right now, it just feels like I press pause on one life to return to another. And this is how it has felt the past few years. When you study abroad, when you live far from home, you're always living between 2 different versions of yourself. At home, it feels like you've changed too much to fit back exactly where you left off. But when you're back to the place where you're studying, you're still figuring it out. Despite it being my last semester, I'm still trying to make Berlin feel like home, even when part of me knows that it never truly will. And the thing is, people love romanticizing studying abroad. They think it's all adventures and new experiences and meeting interesting people. And yeah, sometimes it is. But most of the time, it's just me sitting at my desk trying to convince myself to start to actually study. Walking past groups of people, laughing together, and wondering if I should be putting in more effort to make plans. It feels like I shouldn't complain because I chose this. because deep down I've always wanted this. And I still do, but being alone far away from my family who I love isn't easy. And actually, the weirdest part is what I miss the most. Not the big obvious things like birthdays or Christmas. I actually expected to miss those. But it's the small, mundane moments that get to me. My dad making some ridiculous joke that makes everyone groan. My sister barging into my room. Or my brother being annoying because he's complaining about his homework. With the face of my dog every day that I woke up, seeing her ready to go on her morning walk. I think this is the hardest part. Knowing that you can't just pick up the phone and be there. That you can't transport yourself. That no matter how much you miss it, life at home keeps moving without you. And that you're not part of those moments anymore. All you can do is sit far away and keep going. I think a lot of people assume that if you're lonely, it means you don't have people. That if you're struggling, it means you don't have support. But that's not always true. I have friends here. I go to class. I interact with people. I keep busy. Loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling like no one around you really gets you. Like you're constantly adjusting, constantly explaining yourself, and constantly adapting to a place that still doesn't feel fully yours. And there's a kind of exhaustion that comes with that. Not just the homesickness or the missing out on family moments, but the tiny everyday things that make you realize just how different life outside the home is. Some of my struggles have been grocery shopping in a different language, or trying to navigate a transport system that you've never experienced before. Always doing mental math when paying for something because the currency still doesn't feel natural. And then there's the financial stress. I wish I could fly home more often, but flights are expensive, and every time I book one, I feel guilty for spending that money. So I try to budget everything. I hesitate before grabbing anything from the grocery shop. I second guess if I really need something. It's just this constant awareness, this underlying weight of knowing that being here, building this life, comes with sacrifices. And that not everything is as picture perfect as people like to show.
So I just received a very special packet. They also gave me a little gift. Like, even the box is super cute. Let's unpack it together. No way, I'm actually dying. It's a little teapot, a whole brewing system. How does this work? Oh, this is a tea thingy. And it comes with this little cup. Well, 4 little cups actually. And they also gave me their tea. My go-to tea is green tea. I'm so good at opening packages. Whoa, that smells so good. I'm afraid I'm gonna break it, so I'm just gonna put it back. Because this girl is clumsy AF. Now for the real deal. And these are their products, which are amazing. Guys should definitely try them out. The original pesto and this one, guys. This is, I can't even describe it. This is a game changer. I'm just saying, the umami-ness in this. Ooh, I normally cannot have pesto because of my allergies, but this is made out of fermented tea leaf. It doesn't spike my allergies, which is amazing. Can't wait to do some videos with this. I'm just so happy with this. Great day already.
And that's the thing about people that show their studying abroad experience. They only show the highlight reel. And I'm not saying everything is doom and gloom. I mean, getting to collaborate with brands has been one of the best things that has happened to me. And it's all thanks to you guys and your support. The fact that you follow me on this journey just means so much to me, and I could never say how grateful I am. But my life is not always picture perfect. I'm not always doing something. Most of the time, I'm just editing, and if not, I'm studying, and if not, I'm cooking. I enjoy it, but sometimes when you're tired, The last thing that you want to do is try to cook a whole meal from scratch. I love sharing my travel experiences and all the restaurants I get to go to, and how much I've grown. Studying abroad has given me so much more confidence on what I can do, and also made me realize more of my strengths. What people often forget to realize is that they don't see the whole picture. They don't see this. The part where you sit alone at your desk for hours, trying to force yourself to focus. The part where you cook the same 3 meals because you don't have the energy to figure out something new. The part where you look at your phone wishing you could open the door and see your family instead of texting them through a screen. But I'm gonna be honest, I love my life here. I love the independence, the personal growth, the version of myself that's learning how to handle all of this. But I think it's also okay to admit that sometimes it's hard. I recently walked through a place that I went with my mom when she was here with me, and that made me miss her even more. And it made me wonder if I'm missing out on too much, and I wish I could exist in both places at once. But here's something I didn't expect when I moved abroad: how much effort it takes just to feel normal. The hardest part sometimes isn't missing home. It's actually realizing that you have to keep going, even the days that you don't feel like it, and that you wish you could just be back home. It's sitting through a lecture while your mind drifts back to home cooked meals, forcing yourself to get up and do your day, and make yourself go grocery shopping, even if the last thing you want to do is go outside in the cold. It's having a rough day and knowing you can't just go outside the door and talk to your mom about it to clear your head. And no one warns you about how isolating it can feel. Not in a dramatic way, obviously, but in the small, subtle ways that make you hyper aware how different life is when you're not with your family, with people that have been part of your life for so long. It's weird sometimes to walk back to my apartment after class and then unlocking the door to complete silence. And then remembering, oh, right, no one's home waiting for me. Remembering that my dog won't be jumping up and down, happy to see me. And another thing that people forget to tell you is that sometimes you can go your entire day without speaking to anyone outside of class. Not because you don't want to, but perhaps because you don't have class that day. And it makes you realize that actually so much of your life back home is built into a system that already makes you feel included. You don't actually have to actively seek out plans because your family's there. Your friends that you've probably known your whole life are there. Your life already exists, but when you move abroad, that system disappears. No one is coming to knock on your door and ask if you want to go out on a late night snack run. No one is automatically checking in on you to see how your day was. If you want company, you have to reach out. If you want a social life, you have to build it from scratch. And some days, that effort alone is exhausting. When you're at home, you don't have to try to feel like you belong, because you just do. What I've come to learn throughout the 3 years of my study abroad experience is that when you move to a new place, you have to actively make it feel like home. Portugal didn't feel like home at first until I settled into a routine. Paris didn't really feel homey, maybe because I wasn't used to the people there. Berlin actually feels closer to home in a weird way, but there's still always something lacking. Either way, I still have to remind myself to reach out to people, to say yes to things, to do the extra work of building something from nothing. And to be completely transparent, some days I don't feel like putting in the work. Some days I just wanna be alone. I sometimes wish to exist without trying so hard to see who I am in a new place. But I guess that's the thing about growing up, isn't it? It's realizing that no one is coming to make this easier for me. I have to do it myself. And I know in a few weeks I'll be okay again, that I'll settle into my routines, I'll get busy, and life will start to feel somehow normal as a student. I mean, I don't know how normal it is to study for 24 hours, but I guess that's normal when you're a student. But the in between part, the part where I feel like I'm floating, like I'm waiting for everything to click back into place, is the part no one has ever talked about, or at least that I know of. It takes time to get back into a routine that you thought felt familiar already, especially when you move out. And while it might feel at first that it's great to have more choices doesn't make life easier. What more choices give you is the chance to start discovering who you're meant to be. And that's something that I've come to embrace these past few years. I used to not be so good at making choices. It might be the fact that I'm a Libra, but it also might be the fact that I was very insecure about myself. And while I miss home, I know that it doesn't mean I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And that feeling doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. It just means that I'm human. It means I care. It means I have something worth missing. The truth is, everything we choose in life comes with trade-off. I know I won't always be there for every family moment in the future either. And that's hard to accept. Hard to understand that life continues without you while you are carving your own life. But you know what? I know I'll be okay. Because I know my family will always be there supporting me. And while I am afraid to see what life has in store for me, I'm also excited. I've slowly started to stop worrying about the past so much and living more in the present. Because when we're present, we grow. And while growth is uncomfortable and change isn't easy, it doesn't mean it's not worth it. So if you're feeling this way too, just know this, you're not alone. And no, you won't always feel like this. One day you'll look back and realize that every hard moment was shaping you into exactly who you were meant to be. Maybe along the way, you will also realize that we don't lose the people we love just because we leave, and that you're actually never really alone. Because no matter how much your life or you change, one will always be there. Because it isn't a specific place, but it's a place where you feel like you belong.